And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
If LeBron makes a mediocre team really, really good, you add another all-star like that, they're going to be great. And they were great because it was a super team. Kevin Durant took LeBron James's super team blueprint and improved upon it. This Warriors team is discussed as maybe the best ever.
The question is, are these super teams good or bad for the league? Look, it's good for ratings. Is it good for the league in a whole? No, I don't think so.
Do you think, is it fair to call Phoenix a super team?
It is a super team.
Super duper team.
I like accidental or coincidental super teams. I don't like, super teams that are forced. So now he got his little super team. He got to win this year. If he don't win this year, it's a bust, period.
I mean, we were a super team. And we were a team that was expected to go to the finals, expected to have the potential to win a championship.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Look, no disrespect to Kevin Love. He seems like a genuinely awesome dude. But the original caption of that tweet was friendly reminder, the Cavs with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love were a super team. If you don't agree, go argue with Kevin Love. Good thing for me, arguing about ultimately meaningless things is my favorite thing to do. The Cavs were not a super team, under any circumstances. Unless we're completely going to change how we look at NBA history. The definition of a super team has gotten a lot looser and been used a lot more frequently over the past few years than it used to. By Kevin Love's definition, any team that has an expectation from most people to have the capability to win a championship and is expected to make the finals is a super team. Well, by that definition, to me, there are bare minimum 2 super teams every single year. The 1 seed in the West and the 1 seed in the East have to be considered super teams if they top the conference, because they had the capability to outperform the other 28 teams over an 82-game season. This season, that would be the Nuggets and the Bucks. Along with them, I would say any team that made it to the finals last year, barring any major injuries or major changes to the roster, would also have to be considered one too. So that would be the Warriors and the Celtics. And for me, I think the 76ers have a great chance of coming out of the East, and I think the Suns might be the new favorite in the West with Kevin Durant. Are there really 6 super teams in the NBA right now? No, of course not. Don't be fucking ridiculous. Super teams are incredibly rare. We shouldn't just throw the word around, even for great teams, even for championship teams. So let's set a definition once and for all for when a team reaches super team status. Number 1, the first criteria for super team status is that the team has at least 3 all-stars on roster. All the teams we think of in history when we think super teams had that in common. The 60s Celtics had Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, and Sam Jones. The 80s Lakers had Magic, Kareem, and James Worthy. The 90s Bulls had Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. Even the recent ones, the 08 Celtics who popularized the term super team, had Garnett, Pierce, and Allen. The Heat had LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. The Warriors had Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Now you might be saying Kevin Love was right then. They were a super team. They had him, LeBron, and Kyrie. Well, if that was the only criteria, then the 2015 Hawks would be a super team too, with Jeff Teague, Paul Millsap, Al Horford, and Kyle Korver. So that brings us to number 2. At least 2 of the players have to be top 10 level players. This obviously eliminates that Hawks team, but also eliminates our Cavs team. Sorry, K-Love, but as great as Kyrie was and is, he never was really quite top 10. I think this cleans up a lot of the noise of the teams that just qualified for the first criteria, but I also think that first criteria is for sure necessary because, for example, Kevin Durant and Russ, when they were on the Thunder, they were great. They were both top 10 level players at one point when they were together, but I don't think that team was ever quite a super team. And I think most people would agree with that. And even though they might have been the best duo of all time and one of the best teams of all time, I don't think the Shaq Kobe Lakers are a super team either. Number 3 is kind of just a clarification criteria. You don't have to win a championship to be considered a super team. To be honest, I don't even think you have to make the finals to be considered a super team. There are several examples of failed teams that I think most people would agree on as being super teams. The Rockets in the late 90s with Hakeem, Drexler, and Barkley. The 04 Lakers with Shaq, Kobe, and Gary Payton, both teams that lost in the finals. 2013 Lakers with Kobe, Dwight Howard, and Steve Nash. And of course, most recently, the super team that came and went faster than any other, the Durant, Irving, Harden Nets. Now, I could leave it there, but there are still 2 teams that are bothering me. Teams that would still qualify, but personally I wouldn't consider super teams, and I think most people wouldn't agree on as super teams. And that would be the mid-2000s Suns with Steve Nash, Stoudemire, and Shawn Marion, and the Lob City Clippers with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. So I'm making a last-minute final super team rule. Number 4, the third best player has to be a top 20 player. Shawn Marion and DeAndre Jordan fall just outside of that, while guys like Bosh, Allen, Rodman, and Worthy stay in, and I feel like fully completes our definition of a super team. So let's revisit today our list of 6 teams that by the much looser definition of super team would all qualify. By our definition, only one of the teams even passes one of the prerequisites. That would be the Suns. Even though it's arguable whether Devin Booker is top 10 or not, he's in the conversation, so I'll let it pass, and Kevin Durant is obviously top 5. But Chris Paul wasn't an all-star this year, and Chris Paul has not been a top 20 level player. The only one that's even like semi-close would be the Bucks, because Giannis, Drew, and Middleton have all been all-star players recently at least. But I mean, even there, like Giannis is the only top 10 player anyways, so it doesn't even matter. We have a tendency as fans, and especially in the NBA media, to sensationalize things a little bit. And we're so quick to label things too. We want things to be grander than maybe what they are, because we've seen NBA history, and the stuff we're retold about over and over and over are these great players, are these super teams, are these legendary teams that we want to label anything now that we see as potentially great as a super team. But the truth is, super teams are really rare. And honestly, that's for the best for the NBA. You can have a great all-time team without it necessarily being a super team, because not all championship teams have to be built the same. But every championship team does need an arguably top 5 player. Watch this video right here if you want my argument on that. But I think that sums up our definition of super team pretty well. And that's going to do it. Let me know what you think about this definition down in the comments below. And if you made it this far, maybe consider hitting that like button. I'm assuming if you made it this far, you liked it, or really hated it, which, like I said, leave me a hate comment down below if you want. And maybe consider hitting the subscribe button if you want more content from me. I try to put out as much content as I can with still being in college right now, but summer's coming up, so I should be getting more content out more frequently. But yeah, I hope to keep putting out good content for you guys, and keep it coming. So yeah, see you guys later. Bye.